So, Channel 4's Krishnan Guru-Murthy's interview with Israeli government spokesman David Mencer on June 3rd was lauded for exposing Mencer and Israel. In truth, all he exposed was his own bias and that of Channel 4's editorial policy. This wasn't an interview, it was an ambush, a hatchet job. Call it what you like, but devoid of any balance or integrity, it was far from journalism. This seasoned journalist abandoned any sense of propriety and basically trumpeted a narrative pushed by Hamas and its allies. When Mencer pushed back with facts countering this narrative, Krishnan, I hope he won't mind me calling him Krishnan, well, he simply wasn't interested. He interrupted, he cut him off and talked over him. The story? Israeli troops opened fire on starving Palestinians waiting for food in Rafah, killing scores of hungry innocents. The facts? The IDF fired on a group of men that broke from the designated aid route and moved towards troops in a threatening manner. Following protocol and international law, the IDF ordered the men to stop and return to the designated route. The order was ignored. The men continued to advance, but not towards the food aid, but towards the IDF 500 meters away. The IDF issued verbal warnings over loudspeakers, then fired warning shots into the air. The men continued to advance, and so the IDF opened fire. Ignoring Mencer's points, Krishnan shot back, well, they were desperate for food. Really? Says who, Krishnan? You see, those who were indeed desperate for food, who stuck to the designated route, received their food packages without incident. So, why would these men have deviated from that route if they were so desperate? Surely a point worth exploring, no? Moreover, why would the IDF secure a food distribution site, then shoot innocent Gazans as they come to receive food packages? Where's the incentive? What do they gain? Again, worth exploring, surely. And if it's simply the rabid, evil, genocidal intent of the Jews, well, why would they waste an opportunity? Why kill scores? Why not hundreds? Why not thousands? Why not tens of thousands? Because the very idea is nonsensical. It's absolute rubbish. The aim of the GHF sites is twofold. Get aid directly to ordinary Gazans in need, and deny Hamas access to aid which it steals and stockpiles. Aid is the last element of control Hamas has over the Gazan population. It's also their main source of income. And it's working. In its first week, GHF distributed over 7 million meals directly to ordinary Gazans. There are multiple videos filmed by Gazans themselves collecting food packages, thanking America and even Israel while cursing Hamas. Mencer tried to point out that Hamas were firing on civilians approaching the GHF sites. There's video evidence as well as audio recordings from Gazan eyewitnesses. Krishnan was having none of it. He dismissed the video as spurious. He claimed there is no evidence that the shooters were Hamas. This despite the fact one video clearly shows armed men in civilian clothes walking among the crowd shooting indiscriminately. You should know Hamas terrorists only wear uniforms when attending sick hostage release theatrics. Otherwise, they hide among civilians wearing civilian clothes. Krishnan also claimed there's no evidence Hamas steals or stockpiles aid, which is either, to be honest, wholly ignorant or willfully dishonest. On the first day of GHF aid operations in Central Gaza, 5 people were shot and killed by Hamas as large crowds stormed a warehouse full of food in Central Gaza. Officially, it's a World Food Programme warehouse, but it was controlled and guarded by Hamas. While this was happening, at the first GHF distribution site, 8,000 food packages were distributed without incident. Now, none of this is disputed, but to Krishnan, apparently, it's irrelevant. Now, he also claimed the UN, not Hamas, distributes most of the aid. Again, rubbish. Hamas controls the majority of aid distribution or lack thereof in Gaza. It controls the trucks, the roads, the warehouses, the checkpoints. It basically controls UNRWA. As Krishnan continued his diatribe, Mencer pointed out that, to the journalist that sometimes, Krishnan, you actually advocate for Hamas. And that is bizarre. Krishnan's retort, well, that's offensive. And maybe that's the real story here. Channel 4 anchor offended when called out on blatant bias and advocating for a genocidal death cult. The truth hurts. Being caught out and called out stings. Zero context, zero balance, zero interest in the points made by the interviewee, zero journalistic integrity, along with a diatribe that could have been written by Hamas's communications team. According to Channel 4, Their guidelines for journalists prioritise fairness, accuracy, and impartiality in the reporting, ensuring that all content is presented in a balanced and responsible manner. They also state that news and factual content should be presented without bias and with attention to detail. I think it's fair to say that sadly, Krishnan failed miserably on just about all points. Channel 4's top news anchor wasn't searching for the truth. He wasn't interested in fairness, accuracy, or balance. He had an agenda. And that's not journalism, that's collaboration.